So here we go with the second Wicked film. Now, both movies had a budget of $150 million. The first movie had a box office of 759 million, and that movie was in theaters for two, maybe 2.5 months. So obviously, movies in theaters they last a shorter time in theaters, much shorter than they used to. Movies used to be in theaters for like 4 or 5 months, and now they're in there for two, maybe 3 months tops if they're that popular. Not including Marvel and DC films. So, because a lot of people now they choose to wait until it comes on streaming. So, how many people are going to pay to see the second movie? I mean, I don't know. It depends on how they feel about the runtime, and there's so many different variations and variables to it. Some people might feel it's too long, and they say, "Hey, I'm going to wait till it comes on Peacock or Paramount or whatever." So, like I said, over the course of 2.5 months, the first movie got over 759 million. And this film has already been in theaters for it's only 2 weeks and it already grossed 413 million. Now, by the time it's done in theaters, what's it going to look like? Are they going to gross more? Or are they going to gross a little bit less or roughly about the same? I don't know. That's for the fans to decide. Now, what are the ratings on this film? Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 68%, which is somewhat kind of decent for them because they are a pretty tough source. Internet Movie Database gave it a 70%. Google users gave it 85. Fandango gave it 93. Now demonized as the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba lives in exile in the Ozian forest while Glinda resides at the palace in Emerald City, reveling in the perks of fame and popularity. As an angry mob rises against the Wicked Witch, she'll need to reunite with Glinda to transform herself and all of Oz for good. Obviously, this was a Universal Pictures movie. So yeah, I think it'll most likely be on Peacock because Universal Pictures movies usually go there. So where are we at? Of course, most of the it's got most of the same cast. So of course, Ariana plays Glinda. You have Cynthia Erivo playing Alphaba. Jonathan Bailey plays Prince Fiero here. Fiero. Marissa Bode plays Nessa. Jeff Goldblum is the wizard. And you have Peter Dinklage in here, Michelle Yeoh. Now, now here's what Common Sense Media said. Now they gave it a 60%, and they said that the first movie was for ages 10 and up, and they said this movie is for ages 11 and up. Now, what changed? Well, here's the deal. This I found to be kind of funny and interesting. Two characters, which they're talking about Fiero and Alphaba. Two characters take off outer garments and are shown in a robe over a lacy undergarment and a partially unbuttoned shirt, respectively. They sit on a bed, kissing and caressing each other before the camera cuts away. In the following scene, the man is shirtless and the woman is shown in a robe that reveals some skin and bare shoulders. The clear implication is that they had sex. Flashback to two characters flirting. Now, it's like, well, okay. But hey, not that much of a difference, right? Now, again, now here's how Common Sense Media breaks down the story. Wicked for Good takes place 12 turns of the tide after Alphaba flies away at the end of the first film. As all of Oz frets about the threat they believe she poses to them, Glinda steps into her role as Glinda the Good. She's focused on trying to restore order under the guidance of propaganda master Madame Morrible, played by Michelle Yeoh, while also grappling with the truth that Alphaba wants to expose about the Wizard of Oz's oppressive rule. That's Jeff Goldblum. Meanwhile, Fiero searches for answers about Elphaba's fate, even as the wizard's regime tightens its grip and fuels fear across Oz. As events come to a head, the story also crosses paths with the events of The Wizard of Oz, including a tornado swept arrival of Dorothy Gale, all while exploring how Alphaba and Glinda's choices shape their destinies and the future of Emerald City. Now, parents gave it an 80%, kids gave it an 80%, the source itself gave it a 60. Now, is it good? Is this movie any good? It says right here, this intense, darker sequel is remarkably acted, but the pacing is more uneven than in the first film. The second film leans into the plot's emotional stakes, and Erivo and Grande continue to impress with their chemistry and vocal range as their characters miss and confront each other, ultimately staying true to their powerful bond. Despite the ongoing love triangle, the story isn't defined by its romantic subplot. It remains centered on the two female main characters and their friendship throughout. That said, the As Long as Your Mind scene is quite sensual. Bailey uses his seductive Bridgerton skills to really sell his stirring declaration of love. And heartsick Munchkin Bach, played by Ethan Slater, has no idea that this unrequited love for Glinda is about to push a desperate Nessa, now the governor of Munchkinland, into morally questionable decisions. If only she could channel her longing into sisterhood rather than a doomed romance. This movie boasts stellar production design, fabulous costumes, and striking set pieces. But the story, which is 22 minutes shorter than its predecessor, doesn't move consistently. It's slow to start, yet feels rushed by the end. Many audiences will likely prefer the first film's fantasy academy vibe, as the sequel features more politicking, peril, and life or death stakes. Still, Goldblum remains ideally cast as the wizard, and Yeoh is chillingly effective as a master manipulator. Schwartz's new songs, like No Place Like Home and The Girl in the Bubble, give Arivo and Grande standout vocal showcases, but the original musical numbers are far more show stopping. The screenplay's timely messages will no doubt resonate, though, particularly its reminder that even in the darkest moments, courage and compassion can change the course of a story for good. So, I said that this film was somewhat roughly about the same as the first, like in terms of my rating for it. So, what did I give the first film? I said the first film was roughly about a 7 to a 7.5. I could understand the argument of it being an 8. With this film, I can say I give it between a 7.5 and an 8. So, again, both films are roughly about the same, but as they pointed out, this film did have a little bit of a darker tone. And, one thing that was interesting to me was the main thing that kind of got me a little bit was because I was looking at Fiero's character and I said, wait a minute. Uh, and by the way, I'm sorry I didn't say this at the beginning of the video, but spoiler alert, because this movie's only been out for 2 weeks. So if you haven't seen the film and you don't want anything spoiled, then you should probably stop the video right now. Unless you want to keep watching the video and you don't care about the spoiler alert, or if you don't plan on watching it, whatever, doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to keep talking. Um, Fiero was actually getting ready to marry Glinda. Like they were just seconds away from getting married. And then, of course, a bunch of chaos erupted and such. And then he later got with Elphaba. And it made me, again, that was the part that kind of sent this little subtle hint like, oh, he was going to marry one girl, but then he got with the other. And so some people look at this and say, for lack of better phrasing, the dude appears to be a player. Um, so according to the AI overview, the question is, did Fiero love Glinda? The answer is yes. Fiero did love Glinda initially, but his deeper, truer love was for Elphaba. He cared for Glinda as a popular, beautiful partner, but became captivated by Elphaba's authentic, courageous spirit, leading him to leave Glinda for Elphaba, though he still tried to protect Glinda in the end. Now, here are his feelings explained. Initial attraction to Glinda. He was drawn to Glinda, whose name was then Galinda. Okay, so we're just gonna go with Glinda because to some people that would be a little confusing. But hey, he was drawn to Glinda for her beauty, popularity, and light-hearted, dancing through life attitude, seeing her as a perfect match for his image as a shallow, popular prince. The growing love for Elphaba. His connection deepened with Elphaba, especially after seeing her true self and bravery in standing up to the wizard, realizing his heart belonged to her inner beauty and conviction, not just outer appearances. Conflict and choice. He struggled with his feelings, knowing that he loved Elphaba, but choosing to stay with Glinda out of loyalty and not wanting to break her heart. even though his heart was with Alphaba. Ultimately, Alphaba, despite his genuine affection and care for Linda, Fiero's profound love was for Alphaba, and he ultimately left Glinda to be with her, though he still tried to protect Glinda. Well, you know what's funny about that? It was the way that he went about it was uh kind of lightly jerkish, lightly scumbagish, because she was confused, and Glinda was like, "Well, I thought you loved me," and he just kind of had this rough bad boy attitude, like "Oh no, it was the implication of like, hey, I don't really love you, I really love her." To me, I have a little bit of a mixed thoughts when it comes to that type of message in a movie like this, especially like it's a family oriented, kid oriented movie, especially musical fantasy stuff like that. But I don't know, that along with some of the other things in it, like the cheesy conflict between the two women, it added a little bit of humor to it. So it's like, well, I guess it all worked out in the end. So there's a number of thoughts about that, and like I said, the two movies are roughly tied. Like I said, the first movie is like 7 to 7.5. This one is like 7.5 to 8. So, you know, that's really all I have to say about that. So, to all you musical and fantasy fans out there, I think this movie will be a good treat for you. Go see it in theaters. It's playing everywhere. Like I said, it's only been 2 weeks now, so it'll be there for quite some time. Are they going to have more movies? I don't know yet. I haven't really followed up with that, but so that really concludes that. So that's all I have for now. And if you have any suggestions for other movies or shows that you think I should cover, just comment below. Don't hesitate. Follow my links in my About section. I have Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, and subscribe to my YouTube. Stay tuned.